Yo, we just changed the game with this one. Introducing AG number 2, the newest groundbreaking artificial intelligence software in the game. We got things like AI text generator, AI image generator, AI code generator, AI chat box, AI text to speech, and voiceover capabilities. Yes, it does coding. Yes, it does images. It literally does everything. Make sure you click the link at the top line of the description box. If you're a content creator, if you're an artist, if you're just a regular person that want to take your life to the next level, trust me, click that link. I got a question for you though, if you want to pick back
Sure,
up.
go ahead.
In the news, man, we see this whole situation. Being a former litigator, judge with Diddy. What's your thoughts on that whole? I know it's a lot to unravel with that. It's been a lot of speculation, civil suits. Then his house was raided a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've been following him. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I find it interesting. First thing, who raided him?
The Homeland Security? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Homeland Security got to do jurisdictionally with what they claim to have raided him for? Homeland Security deals with international terror and domestic terrorism,
Right.
natural and man-made disasters that come out of stuff like there was a storm, tornado, hurricane, or somebody took down the Twin Towers. It deals with customs, immigration, and border security.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell does that have to do with sex trafficking? Then there's another thing. Did anybody pay attention to what they raided or served a search warrant on? They served a search warrant on one of his mansions on the West Coast, right?
Yes, sir.
They served one on his Florida mansion, right?
Correct.
Why didn't they serve a search warrant on his second mansion on the same lot in Florida? Why search just one of them?
I didn't know he had another. Wow.
Yeah, he did. So they walk out of there with a moderate sized cardboard box, not a big one, and a moderate sized trash bag, not a big one. So, what is it they seize that can fit in that?
Electronics, computers, tablets, stuff
Hard
like that.
drives.
No, I wouldn't say hard drives. Might be some video recording devices, some
Yeah.
thumb drives, and such
Right.
like.
Right.
And they they talk to him at the airport and let him get on a plane and go to some place that does not have an extradition treaty. What are they after? And by the way, the FBI was there. They have the jurisdiction. They started off dealing with interstate trafficking of women because they were trying to get Jack Johnson. That's how the FBI got started before World War One, to come
Wow.
up with what is now known as the Mann Act, which they most recently got R. Kelly under. So that's their bailiwick. That's why the FBI started, was to get black men caught up in trafficking white women across state lines.
Wow.
Now, why did the FBI pull off that search warrant? And by the way, they still haven't come up with anything out of it. So you see stuff. What are you just doing? Sitting on it?
Right.
Now, think about it. You've seen the list of some of the people that are supposed to have been there. Did they just go in there and use that as a pretext to seize, say, very condemning information on somebody so one of their guys doesn't have to go through what Trump is going through with this idiot Letitia and her boys and Bragg up in New York?
Mm.
By the way, look at what they're doing with Trump with Bragg. He supposedly bribed Stormy Daniels to remain silent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that unless you bribe somebody not to do something that they had a legal obligation to do. But if you have to pay somebody to keep from embarrassing you, what happened to you? You got blackmailed. So, in other words, they indicted the victim of felony blackmail, not the blackmailer.
Wow.
Okay, the company didn't make a full report, but there was a gag order because the woman cleaned it up by filing an action. So, as part of the settlement, the company is supposed to keep their mouth shut. And if they had made the disclosure that Bragg says they should have made, then they would be violating a court order. So you have a company indicted for following the law, and you have an individual who was indicted for being a victim of a felony under the law. See how that works? In other words, it's not going to stick on appeal whether there's a lower court conviction or not. We decided we're going to tie this up so we snatch it from the American public. Now, even if you don't like Trump, think about it. We're black men. Think of how fucked up things are the way we get treated. Now, if they can do that to a former president of the United States who is leading in all of the damn polls, what can they do to the rest of us?
Man, anything they want.
What
They need to get him. He's a criminal, and he's gonna be. Fool, do you understand what you're asking for?
Right.
Look what they did to Bill Cosby. When that first happened, I said, there's no way, no how this is going to stand on appeal because they violated the hell out of Dr. Cosby's Fifth Amendment rights. There is no way they can stand up. The judge took almost a year to return something he only had 60 days to come up with as a report to go up on appeal. They kept offering Dr. Cosby a deal that if he would just fess up, they'd get him out of jail before the week was out. He said, hell no.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
Gangsters up in the jail took care of him. So anyway, what happens? The Court of Appeal said, hell no, you violated the devil out of the Fifth Amendment. You can't go in there, and he's exercising his Fifth Amendment. And one district attorney says, we grant him immunity so he can be compelled to give evidence in a civil case that might incriminate him, might not, but you can't make him give it if there's a pending criminal case. So when one DA says there's not, and he gives the evidence, you can't get a new DA saying we revoked the offer, we're going to use it as part of our prosecution. No way in hell. So that's what they're doing here in New York. And then the other thing that they had, well, not here, but in New York, the other thing they're doing with this thing about the civil fine, $170-some million bond that Letitia doesn't want the bonding, well, the insurance company to put up. Well, they do it all the time. And the deal is there's no victim. What they have done is jack around every homeowner by this ruling, by this crank idiot that's the judge, the pencil neck little dork up in there. And what it's about is, okay, you go into a bank and you want to start a business, so you want a second mortgage on your home, right? So you say, my house is worth $750,000. Somebody else says, no, it's only worth $600,000. You say, no, it's $750,000. So under the theory of what they went after Trump under, you'd be violating the law by claiming $750,000 rather than, oh, they's right, they know it's better than me, it's only $600,000. But the bank said we didn't rely upon his representation anyway. We did our own independent investigation. We were satisfied with the value of the properties put up with collateral. We got our money when we were supposed to get our money. That's like me saying, Judge Joe wrote you a bad check. What bad check? I took it to his bank, presented it. They gave me the cash that it was written out for. I didn't get any bad check. Yes, you did. We say you did. So this idiot has a verdict that he delivered not based on the evidence, because there was not one shred of evidence to support what Trump was found liable for. The only thing in front of the court was the statement of Letitia that this was the case. And as a judge charges the jury, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the statements and remarks and arguments of counsel are not the law, nor are they evidence. They're just designed to assist you in interpreting the evidence which has been presented to you from the witness stand or by stipulation, and interpreting the law that will be given to you by the court. There was no evidence. Like, for example, Pencilneck decides he's going to say Largo's only worth $13 million. It's in Florida. The cheapest damn undeveloped, smallest lot around the damn place is $10 million. A lot of them are undeveloped, going for 20 and 30 million, and they got $85 million houses around the place. You're talking about this internationally famous country club is only worth 13 million. You're a damn fool. So there was no proof that that's what it was limited to. So the interesting thing is there is no victim. And the difference between New York law and federal law is that in federal law, there actually has to be a victim who suffered some harm. So according to these clowns, somehow nebulously, though nobody was involved in it, New Yorkers were suffered from a remote harm. But then again, all that happened was at the higher value, they get more tax off of the properties. And you have all of these businessmen telling them, screw you, New York, we're moving our operations elsewhere because you could do that to us. See, nobody's thinking about it. You've got this mess down in Georgia with Mammy Fanny.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything like that. I can only think of one case in 50 years where some fool, dumb crook incriminated himself worse than she did. She walked in there, stormed through the back, put her hand on the hip, doing that snake charm thing with her head. I decided I'm going to testify. And the judge even asked her, are you sure, ma'am? We're discussing whether or not there's any need for you to take the stand. I decided I'm going to take the stand. And she gets up there, and by the time she gets through, she has revealed multiple counts of tax fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, other instances of criminal fraud, ethical violations, and she's got 5, about to get 6 ethical complaints against her. Now it's surfacing that she's been part of the money laundering exercise. People are releasing campaign tapes of her when she got elected saying she's going to take sex out of the equation. It is a disgrace that the DA here has been sexually dealing with his employees. And guess what? Came out that she was sexually involved with the previous DA when he was her boss. And now what do we find from the testimony of the father, John Floyd, who I happen to be acquainted with? He's not a bad brother. I don't know what happened to his daughter. But anyway, what goes on is we find she's shacking with somebody who's a DJ who supposedly has a daytime government job. Dad doesn't know what it is. And unbeknownst to Dad, she's sneaking out at night with Brother Wade. And she's in charge, so she doesn't have to submit any okays she gives to any claim she makes to anybody. And we discovered that although the matter hadn't even been set for trial, he had already received $720,000. She doesn't make but $210,000 a year for a salary. The Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court makes $260,000 a year for a salary. The Attorney General of the United States, handling all of the country's business, makes $360,000. The President of the United States makes $480,000, and this dude's been paid $720,000, and the case ain't even started.
Wow.
Dang.
And she's whining from the pulpit, white supremacy, keeping a sister down, and the sister got a right to make mistakes. Wait a minute. What's supremacy? You are a constitutional officer. There's nobody over you. So who do you answer to but yourself? And every 4 years to the voters. So who is the supremacist? You live in a majority black county, Fulton County. The majority of the town county is black. The sheriff's black. The chief of police is black. Most of the judges are black. You are the DA, you're black. You don't answer to anybody. Where's the white supremacy or the black stupidity? See, that's what we're talking about. So are you laundering money? Because all of the people in Fulton County are coming up saying all this money has been stolen, embezzled, and ripped off, and $7.5 million to chop down the backlog, and all of the black men sitting up in jail for several years, never been formally charged, and the money's supposed to go to getting them prosecuted or at least out of jail or finishing up their sentences. And nobody knows where the $7.5 million went to. And people started saying she spent it to go after Donald Trump, but she's denying that. Or did you take the money and you pay the cash back? You said to pay Mr. Wade back his credit card usage. And is that money that you just paid him so he can hand it back to you a way of laundering it so he can record it? And then you're dumb enough to bring in an affidavit from a waiter in Napa Valley, California, that your tab at a restaurant was over $400. You paid that and a 20% tip in cash. And you have a constitutional responsibility to document that and receipt it. So there's $56,000 that was paid out undocumented, and it's not receipted. She withdrew, she said, $50,000 from her 401k for her campaign committee. And when you do that, it's subject to taxation. So you're supposed to report it to IRS and pay taxes on it. She didn't. She gave an affidavit to IRS that she couldn't afford to pay cash for the $8,400 lien on her residence. But then we find out, hey, several things. She had $15,000 in cash laying around the house, so she made a knowingly false statement to a federal agency or federal official. That's a felony. Wow. We also have a thing where she said, I gave $50,000 to my campaign, but the only documentation is $19,000. What happened to the other $31,000? That's a violation of state law. And then her campaign gives her $8,400, which just happens to be the amount of the lien, and she testifies to that dumb crook-wise under oath. So IRS is going, whoa, wait a minute. This is getting real crazy up in here.
Yeah,
so she indicted some school teachers on RICO, some rappers on RICO. You remember that one? Where she indicted them because of the language they were using and things they said in their recordings. Well, it looks like she's committing RICO violations a damn self. And on top of that, she's got, I think it's all 5 or 6 ethical complaints now levied against her. She might lose a law license. She might go to jail. The judge issued a 54-page order on the thing and noted that if anybody on the defense applies for a gag order against her, he'll grant it. But the defense doesn't want it because she keeps running her mouth and making it worse for herself and revealing more and more about what's going on with their case. Now we find out she was meeting with Biden and Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. to plot out what they're going to do. She's been talking to people about it. She's bragged about it. And on top of which, you know, she's got an arrest warrant against herself now. Comes out of Maryland because she recorded the only black defendant in this bunch. She recorded his conversation with his lawyers, which is against Maryland law, and she didn't disclose it. So now she's got a felony warrant. All right. Sorry for doing that. You know, you got me on a roll here talking about this mess.
Good, man. We appreciate it for sure.
I'm so tired of these mammies that they try to put in charge of us. Not that I've got anything against the sisters, but if you're going to get one instead of a sapphire. Right. That's the character out of Amos and Andy. A disagreeable alpha that had a bad attitude and always had too much mouth for the situation. Anyway, if you want to get prepared for this new hot summer coming up, which will probably be real hot since we keep having these record heats coming along, since we have so-called global warming, prepare yourself to do some things outside. Now, there's this miraculous product. It's called barbecue.
Mhm.
Judge Joe Brown Barbecue, JJB, Judge Joe Brown Barbecue, BBQ.com. Go there. You can get seasoning, hot and spicy, sauce, mild and spicy. You can get chicken links, hot, mild, smoked, or raw. You can get beef links, same way. You can get that Beyond Beef vegan meat substitute. It's real good, by the way, in the same ways. You can get all kinds of stuff, recipes. I've been working on this for 40 some years. Chef Damon, who is Beyonce's personal chef, he's been working on it to clean it up so you can get it at Whole Foods and Sprouts and that kind of stuff. And if you're in LA, go to the corner of 79th and Western to Dee's Original Takeout Grill, and you can get all of this stuff on poultry, fish, beef, pork, goat, lamb, anything you want. And it's great stuff. We've got Tiffany Haddish is an investor. There's a beautiful sister named Michelle Duke. She collaborates with us on whiskey. And by the way, try it. It's called Poppy's, PAPI''S. The sister's got a distillery, and it's based on some moonshine her granddaddy did down in Mississippi, and it's as smooth as Jack Daniels, Blanton's, Booker's, Knob Creek. It's great whiskey.
Yeah.
And we do the meat packing through the only USDA certified Black female owned meat packing plant in California, and it operates out of Compton. So we've got Black folk involved in the financing of the thing, the operation of the thing. And not only can you go on jjbbbq.com and get it, you can go on Amazon. And if you have Amazon Prime, the shipping is free, and they'll get it to you in a couple of days. Order all you want. Just do it quick because they keep running out. Sells pretty well, and I guarantee you it'll be the best you've ever tasted, unless your granddad knew how to make the stuff up, or your grandmama. But this is one of the things men tend to do better. We do barbecue. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, the other thing is the Real Dana on Mondays and Thursdays. You can get the Real Dana, and it's on YouTube. Now, when we get real risky, they try to jack us up, make everything happen wrong, and they demonetize us a lot. Yeah. But you know how that goes. That's what we call misinformation is being kept down because we don't push the party line for the mammy fanny types and the mammies and those bobblehead chicken enemies like Al Sharpton. So we don't, when we get off track as far as the rest of us, but the rest of certain somebodies are concerned and talk real politics, real meaning, then they want to cut us back. But check it out. We also do X Space, which we are about to do right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's that time. So,
all right. We appreciate
how
you.
by gotta go, this has been Judge Joe. Catch me when you can, since I'm the one that ran. Get back, I give no slack as I go into my Get Down. Brown is in town. If you look at me closely, you'll see there's space between the soles of my feet and the planet Earth, because I do not walk. I float and I fly.
Yes, sir.
Put out your hand, touch me, verify that your senses deceive you not. I've become manifest in the flesh as promised and prophesied. And ladies, bring your favorite part of your body nearby to whatever your device is, and you will feel a satisfaction of all your inner quiet, loud, and exotic vices. So Joe is on the go, and you've had him on this show. So catch me when you can. I'm the one that ran. JoJo is out of here.
Appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Okay. Have
All
a
right.
good one, guys.
All right,
Call
you
me
too.
again. All right.
Yes, sir.
Later on.